If I needed $150,000 or less for my business, I wouldn't go after investors. I do this instead. I'm about to give you a grants masterclass. So even outside of grants, you have your revenue-based financing options, you have debt, you have pre-sales, you have all these amazing things. There's also two different types of grants that most founders don't even think about. Take really long, it's more of a credit system for money. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's not for the average founder. The real secret in funding and the real avenue to free money are corporate grants. Corporate grants are from organizations like Amazon, FedEx, Verizon, Progressive, and more. Corporations get tax incentives to give away money, and they do free PR, and it's usually cash in the bank. And the reason I know this is because I've won 22 grants and 6 figures worth to help fund my first company. Not only have I won 6 figures in grants, I've helped founders raise over 40 million in grants at their venture capital, and the themes and mistakes are all the same. But I'm gonna unpack it all for you in just a few minutes. So the biggest myths about corporate grants are that they're only for nonprofits, they take too much time to apply so it's not worth it, and it requires a professional grant writer, all of which are not true. The reality of grants is that corporate grants are actually the easiest to win. You do not need a professional grant writer because once you have one foundational pitch, it's copy and paste for every single one. There's opportunities for all stages and industries, especially if you're under about $1 million or so in revenue, and sometimes even under $2 million a year in annual revenue. And it could be anything from idea stage to no sales traction, not even an LLC, up to that $1 to $2 million range. And they're actually not as competitive as you think. So I'll tell you, the FedEx grant, they get over 10,000 people to apply every year, and I was one of the winners years ago. They say they throw out basic applications for people not even answering the questions. So a lot of the times people are lazy, they don't read the instructions, or they're not even a fit for the actual grant opportunity. For example, FedEx is a shipping company. You should be a company who ships product to apply to the FedEx grant. But there are hundreds of opportunities like these out there. So FedEx and Verizon and Amazon aren't even the only ones. So one of my favorite examples is we had a founder, no pitch experience, really early stage with a peanut brittle company, so it wasn't even something patented or proprietary or even saving the world or curing cancer. And she's won over 4 grants totaling $63,000. And the reason for that is she built one foundational pitch and used it to apply for multiple opportunities. So most of our founders that we work with spend 1 to 2 hours weekly or bi-weekly, and that's enough to apply to several grant opportunities and bring in some extra cash to help fuel the business. And it's cash in the bank. And the cool part about corporate grants is the majority of the time, they don't even ask you what you do with the money. So again, take it from someone who has actually won these. No one asks. I ended up using all the money to grow, scale, and exit my first company, but it's one of the most incredible pieces of financing that a founder can use. So how does one find and actually apply for these grants? So you can Google until your eyes bleed, but we have a specific grant program where we share 200 plus funding opportunities every single month. Now, that's not saying you're gonna go for 200. Even if you're starting on your own, only choose 1 to 3 opportunities, sit down and actually batch apply for them. And that's the beauty of only spending a couple hours a week. And these grants don't require you giving up equity. It is not an investment, it is not a loan, it is not something you pay back. It is literally you applying, pitching live, maybe writing an actual physical application, submitting it, hoping you get some cash in the bank. A founder of ours who pushed her fundraise with investors and won 3 grants totaling $90,000. And that's more than the average angel investor check. She used the same foundational pitch. All she did was some written applications and a few live ones, and it was cash in the bank, check in the mail. What comes from that is not just cash. The even more beneficial part is the PR, credibility, potential in-kind services that can come from something like that. And so something to think about is that a lot of founders use grants as leverage in a foundation before they go raise from investors, because who doesn't want free cash? It's not giving up equity, it's not a loan, it's not having to pay the grant back by any means, and the majority don't even ask what you do with it. So the founders who are skipping out on grants are seriously missing out. When a lot of founders say it's not worth applying, I always use this example of one time I was complaining about applying for a $5,000 grant, and my dad had asked how much time it was going to take. And I said 2 hours. And he looked at me all confused and said, "You don't make $2,500 an hour. Go apply for that grant, sit your butt down, and it's going to be worth it." And he was right, because I communicated differently about the business. It was copy and paste for a lot of things. It didn't actually take me over 2 hours. And that $5,000 cash was huge, huge leverage and credibility that I used to purchase for some inventory and other software. So the timing is really about prioritization. There's always time to apply for these. And like I said, when you batch apply, it's going to cut your time in half. So if you've got more questions about corporate grants, where to find them and what to look for, drop a comment below and I'll put the application for our program because we'd love to get you some wins too.